There we go.
Doo-doo-doo. Yeah. What's up, bitches?
Don's not here because he's a bitch.
Yeah, Tom's a bitch.
We're continuing with this Patreon request made by Summer Moon Soldier. Saved by Grace by Ceara Ivory.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful, wonderful story. Oh, I'm so in love.
Oh god, the whole villain love interest thing is just causing me, it's causing me psychic damage, I swear, because all I can think about, I recently started reading more of those, isekai, villainous isekai, manga and such. And it's one, it's more enjoyable than regular isekai, because it's not power fantasies.
You're a power
weirdly
fantasy.
enough. Someone. But at the same time, the characters just tend to be more likable.
What the hell?
One of the few...
No,
Whoa.
no. Stop.
Cat.
Yes.
Cat. Ah.
Cat.
No longer
Cat.
just sleeping in a little flop pile.
No, she decided she was going to come up and lay on me and sink her claws right into my titty. And now she is biting my hand. That's my elbow, you little shit. This cat is so freaking weird. I woke up this morning to her, asleep on top of my head, just purring. I just kind of remember waking up and be like, why is my head vibrating? And then I wake up and there's just a cat butt in my face.
I got ya. I mean, at least it wasn't,
a very
they weren't
stinky
smothering you.
Cat butt.
Well, it's
very
an ass,
stinky cat butt. Yeah,
at least they weren't smothering you, because they'll do that too.
Oh, I think she was trying to. Girl, I cannot see the computer screen when you get in my face like that. I'm going to need you to, not do this. Or ignore me and continue to do it.
I dislike how bright it is outside despite the thunder I'm hearing.
That's weird.
I just dislike how bright outside it is. It's been over 100, consistently this week, and so I've been having to, water the trees in the morning.
Yeah, we've been, ungodly hot here.
Yeah. Anyway, I was gonna say, also in that subgenre, I managed to find a Korean webcomic that didn't make me very uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know why, a lot of, manhwa, there's this weird, veneer to them, to where, when reading a lot of them, I just feel, stressed.
No, don't chew on that! Sorry.
And I can't tell if it's, a cultural subtext thing or what. Because there is often, very much a different feel to it, which, of course, different countries, different cultures. But, with, Japanese stuff, the stuff that isn't, outright meant to be, tragedy and shit has this habit of, portraying things as more, happy and,
on the microphone.
Everything's, things for the most part are alright, whereas, with, Korean stuff, it's more life is misery.
Well, duh.
I guess that'll happen in a wartime situation.
Hermione, stop. Oh, don't you mare at me.
Speaking of Hermione,
little
probably start.
Shit. She was like, I'm gonna chew on your microphone. And I'm like, fuck you, no.
Meow.
She already ran off because she got smacked.
Well,
she shouldn't have been chewing on the goddamn microphone.
Yes, yeah, typically not a good idea to chew on electronics. That's how I went into my first coma. Chapter 4. To the Dark Lord, Christmas was just another day. Laird, that's another thing for us to relate on. Or one thing for us to relate on. I guess the other thing's the immortality. He never in his life had a reason to celebrate it. It was just another on the long list of things that he associated with terrible memories. But then Wormtail brought his breakfast. But when Wormtail brought his breakfast, he also brought a package wrapped with Father Christmas print paper. Something about that phrasing.
A gift for you from Miss Grace, Master. Wormtail, by way of explanation. Yes, because Wormtail is a way of explanation.
What? That has to be the most confusing, like, sadism that I've ever seen.
Your sadism.
I mean, only emotionally.
Ha!
But like, I almost said sadism. Sadism as in, like, phrases used to, like, replace, for, like, such and such said.
Yeah, I know.
That is... Why would you...
I know.
What the fuck?
I know.
Voldemort
I know.
Voldemort growled his acceptance and ordered Wormtail out. The breakfast tray sat forgotten as Voldemort eyed the gift in his lap as if it were something big and poisonous and wanting to bite him.
Yes.
I tend to treat most presents I've given the same way.
Yes.
Ever since someone just put a snake in a box and wrapped it for me.
I said I was sorry.
Well, that's my move, damn it. I don't care if it was wrong for me to do that with an alligator. They should have noticed there was an alligator in the package before they opened it up.
Well, obviously they didn't.
Just because I stuffed a tiger in someone's mailbox. Then cautiously he tore the corner. He used a long finger to finish the job of slitting the paper the rest of the way.
Yeah, finger it. I'm not apologizing.
What else are you going to do to a slit of a finger?
Yes.
We do just get, like, completely worse whenever it's just the, like, two of us with no one else to rein us in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everyone uncomfortable at home, you have Tom to blame for this. Finally, he slid out something soft and neatly folded.
Ooh.
I can't quite turn that one into an innuendo. Unfolding it, he found it was a robe, black with sage green trim. Did she find out what, like, the house colors are or some shit?
I don't know. I
don't quite know.
I
No,
don't
I'm
quite
not
know.
entirely sure.
Nope. Not sure at all.
It was made of a nice, soft, warm wool. He eyed it with mixed feelings, and he stood to try it on. It fit perfectly. One of his followers must have given her his measurements. I'm now suddenly just imagining her through the bars of the cage saying, "Hey, what's the noseless guy's 3 measurements?"
Only 3?
Yeah. Bust, belly, waist. Or bust, hips, bust, waist, hips.
Well, yeah, and you also need to know, like, height and inseam.
Well, yeah, but you can estimate that one. I mean, with a robe, that's so long as, like, it's not, like, coming up to his, like, only going down to, like, his fucking thighs.
Thigh master.
I mean, we do know that he wears, like, tights and a garter belt. Or leggings and a garter belt. Stockings.
Panty and stocking.
With garter belt.
Woo!
Way better than it had any right to be. He tied it. Oh, how warm it made him feel. Wait. I think we missed a step here. What? He felt caught up in the joy of the gift for a bright moment before remembering his intention. He took of the robe, distressed. He did distress, yes.
Distress.
The girl was nuisance and
Such
inspired
nuisance.
feeling. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what it says on my business card is nuisance. And inspired feelings of mutiny among his followers. It's what I'm good at. He tried to get rid of he needed to get rid of her. For the first time in his long career of evil, he was hesitant about killing a muggle. He stroked the soft, warm wool. What?
I just said evil.
Evil! He had to, at least, go down there. He had to at least try. He's gone soft. Can't kill like he used to. Just can't get his wand up anymore.
Sounds like a personal problem.
Also, that fucking thing of me joking about me being a nuisance, all I could think of is, there's this one Irish YouTuber, call me Kevin. And there's this one point where he was doing like a multiplayer, I think it was the Red Dead Redemption multiplayer, and he just started harassing this other player because they wouldn't say hi to him. He's like, I'll chase you to the ends of the earth. I'm a bad shot, but I'm fucking annoying.
Sounds just like you.
Yep. It's like he'd just like show up, say howdy partner, and then shoot them.
Yeehaw, bitch! Boom!
Howdy partner, boom! You just hear like them over the mic, like, I don't think he's gonna go. I don't think he's gonna leave us alone. Holy shit, my fucking voice connection.
Yeah?
It's all over the place. Anyway, it's your line.
Yeah. So he stood and made the long walk down to the, air quote, dungeon.
Why is dungeon in quotation marks?
I don't know.
Is it his sex room?
Yes.
Is the dungeon also a sex basement?
Yes.
Something's really uncomfortable with Voldemort having a sex basement, like, more so than anything else.
Well, you'll have to get over it.
I mean, that's kind of what happens when you don't go down to the basement. You're over it.
What the fuck?
Grace was sitting on her cot, waiting. Voldemort was dismayed to see her face light up at his presence.
I think we broke. I think the story broke Lilitic.
Lydic broken.
Lydic broken.
Again, I've seen just so many more things of just, like, shit between, like, a quote-unquote villainous character and, like, a main character that works out so much it's, like, so much better done than this shit. Every time, it just threw him for a loop, and he didn't know how to continue. It was much easier when his victims were angry and screamed or begged for mercy, but she didn't either, and instead, she did things like this. He could never meet those green eyes because he knew they would show kindness and caring, and he couldn't stand it. He thrust the robe in front of him. Please don't put anything referring to Voldemort and thrust in the same sentence, please?
So you didn't really finish your line properly. You read my line.
Wait, did I? Shit.
Yeah! Because you were supposed to finish with the face
Merry
light up.
Christmas!
Yeah.
She saw the robe draped over his elbow, clutched tightly to his chest. Do you like it? She asked brightly.
Yeah. So, since you basically also read my line, I'll just do the line underneath that.
I mean, I didn't read the beginning of it.
Fine, whatever. Anyways. So, what I was supposed to read before you made a dum-dum... I'm kidding.
I am a dum-dum.
I'm kidding.
Put me in your mouth and suck on me.
I mean, time and place. Time and place. I mean, what?
Fuck.
Ooh. Ooh.
Not sponsored. Not sponsored by Dum Dums. It's a brand of sucker.
I know. Ooh. Phew. He said nothing for a few moments. What could he say? There was that irritating smile again. Every time.
And then what I said.
True. And then what he said. Yes. Threw him for a loop, didn't know how to continue. Oh, those green eyes like a pickled toad. Oh, God.
Do you have a habit of pickling toads?
No, dude. Remember the second Harry Potter book when, Ginny
it's been a while.
Ginny sent Harry the singing Valentine's card with the Cupid, and it was like, his eyes are as green as a fresh pickled toad. Yeah. Yeah. I am still very disappointed they left that out of the movie, because that was
There's a lot of things that I wish were in the movies. We never had Peeves.
Dude, do you know how much better the movies would have been with Peeves?
Very?
So much better.
Just like we never actually got a canonical depiction of gay Dumbledore because of the Chinese and the Russians.
Always the Chinese and the Russians.
Well, the whole thing is like, fucking Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Like, the second one was supposed to show Dumbledore back during his past. It's like, okay, we had mild hintings that maybe he was gay in the books, but that was it.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, the whole thing was...
So are we going to make good on it? No, we got to sell it to international markets. Well, fuck you!
Yeah, it's supposed to be implying that fucking, him and Grindelwald were butt buddies.
Oh, the brothers. Oh, fuck off.
Anyways.
I think Dominic Noble's like joking description of like, okay, we don't necessarily need this, but still, like he at one point just like, I mean, we don't need him just climbing out of a pile of men in the morning when he gets out of bed. Something.
Something.
But you know what? I'd be okay with that. Just turns out Dumbledore had a gay orgy the night before.
Like that just like makes me like think to in the first book when like Harry comes across the mirror of Erised and he asks Dumbledore what he sees, and Dumbledore's like, "Oh, I see myself holding a nice pair of socks," and now I'm just like, "Nah, you saw yourself in a gay ass orgy."
Holding a nice pair of cocks.
Yeah.
I don't know. My favorite version of that is that one comic with Spicy Dumbledore.
Oh yeah.
You know, the one is like, I see myself with a nice pair of socks, and it's just him with like fishnet thigh eyes.
Another one somebody did where it was like someone did where it was like that, but it was like it's like a nice pair of socks, but then it just shows like Snape and nothing but woolen socks.
A nice pair of socks.
Yeah, like artfully posed where you're not really seeing anything, but you know.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of that sexy Gandalf cosplay.
Oh yeah.
Where they just like had like the fucking like Wizard Grove's beard, all that shit, but then like reveal one of their legs is just like fishnet stockings.
Hell yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Are you doing this line or me?
I guess
or
I can do it. I don't know. I mean, like, I could do it considering you
I was just correcting phrase. I was correcting phrasing.
I don't care about that. I don't care about that. I mean, like, I could do it since you fucked up my line, or you could do it. I don't fucking care. Just somebody needs to do something.
I mean, I could do it. Just force myself to read more.
Yeah. Do it.
Why? He demanded. Why give me a gift when I'm going to kill you? To spite you. I mean, that's why I do it.
Yeah.
Just make him a nice, tasteful sweater that says, go fuck yourself.
Oh my god, yes. All day, every day.
Why are you so nice to me when I killed your family? No, yeah, unless it was a really bad situation that's not...
Mm,
Hmm.
mm,
Unless we're talking, like, full-on, like, horrific abusive situation. Kind of hard to justify a romantic story with that.
yeah.
Again, I think that
Even if with
Grace
an
might just be a
abusive,
psychopath or sociopath,
even
more
with
sociopath.
even with an abusive situation, I would still have a hard time justifying it.
Like, it would have to be like an over-the-top horrific type of situation. Like it'd have to be like a fucking Joseph Fritzl type situation.
Oof.
Yeah. Glad I didn't need to explain that one.
Yeah.
I don't understand. You should hate me. He shouted, his temper flaring.
Why? Grace asked simply.
I killed your family. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Right.
I am physically incapable of compassion, and you are making me uncomfortable with how dead behind the eyes you are. Not sure why this has become my Voldemort voice.
I mean, that's not even what the frickin' thing said. You just went off on your own little tangent.
I mean,
but
am I wrong?
It's definitely better than what's actually written.
Why? Voldemort screamed. You asked me why? I'm a killer. I'm a monster. I'm evil. I've killed whole families. Men, women, children, babies. Everyone hates me. You know, except for my staff. Even my followers hate me. Except for the ones that don't. They only stick around me because they're afraid of me. And also, you know, some interlocking ideologies.
Yeah, totally.
You should hate me too, he finished, daring to look up now as his temper tapered off. A trail of tears blemished her pink cheeks.
Ooh, pink cheeks.
Really wondering how she pulled that off. Oh, wait, face cheeks. See? Now you fear me.
Oh, face cheeks. Okay, there we go. Yeah, face cheeks. Yeah, face. Yeah. What the fuck?
What? Cat?
No!
What?
I'm sitting here, about to read my line, and I hear a firework go off, and it's still fucking bright-ass daylight.
I've been hearing fireworks too.
Her.
I've been hearing fireworks too. I mean, that's pretty much what's been going on.
I hate 4th of July.
Yeah, doesn't it also, like, set off some noise sensitivity with you too?
Yeah, I mean, like, right now my roommate's not really having to worry about it because he's not home, but, like, fucking disabled war veteran with fucking PTSD, and then I've got fucking PTSD, so it's like, yay, nightmares.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I just am not very entertained by fireworks. Or just mildly annoyed.
Yeah.
I think that just explains my feeling towards most things that involve humans.
Mood. So, let's see here. You really do hate me, knowing what I've done. He turned away, his rant having tired him significantly. He felt pain deep inside him, and he didn't know why.
Oh no, baby Sleepy.
Baby Sleepy.
Just thinking about how much I'd rather be reading Beware the Villainess. The correct ship in that is the main character Melissa, the heroine Yuri, and Melissa's butler 9. That is the correct ship.
Sure.
It's an adorable throuple.
You're an adorable throuple.
You weren't supposed to know that I was a living coven. You need 3 witches for that to happen, and you weren't supposed to know that.
Well, too fucking
Whoops.
bad.
Whoops. He then felt a gentle touch on his shoulder.
How?
He looked down the girl.
Down the
I guess
girl, down!
I guess he didn't step away from the cage, he just turned away from it, and I guess he was just standing within arm's reach of her. It's either that... House. It's either that or, like, that one scene from Attack of the Killer Clowns with where, like, the extendable... No, wait, no, that was, like, a little, like, party favor thing. But, like, just blows that, and, like an arm comes out and, like, reaches through the bars and grabs the cop. Just like an extendo arm situation.
So for a second,
like she's like,
for a second, because it cut out, it sounded like for a second you said reached out and grabbed the cock and not the cop.
Oh,
and I was like,
that's why you giggled.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like it's just like we see like her hand on his shoulder, and then it does like a wide shot, and her arm's like 10 feet long. It has 3 elbows.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait. I don't hate you because I'm a bigger monster.
Wink, wink, wink.
I've devoured families. You just kill them.
Well, I mean, that's typically what you do whenever you swallow after a blowjob.
No, that's just the children. That's not an entire family. This is all Tom's fault. # blame Tom.
# blame Tom.
If you've listened this far, put blame Tom in the comments. Holy shit.
And this is just us talking over fucking recording. It's worse when we're talking in person. Oh my god.
Yeah, I remember like that one, like the first, it was the first time we met outside of a con, and you brought cupcakes, and I fucking swallowed one whole.
You
and
unhinged
just had, like,
jaw.
frosting.
Oh my god. And then we
just,
played
like, frosting all around my mouth, and she just goes, "You got some stuff on your mouth." I was like, "It's not the first time I've had white stuff all over my face."
And then, like, oh my god, it was like, yeah, because you
played
came and
Cards
hung
Against
out.
Humanity. I won.
We fucking came and hung out at the hotel room with us and scared the shit out of my friend and her husband.
Did I actually like?
She was like, she came back from taking you home, and she was like, I don't know how I feel with the energy that y'all created in this room. And I was like, you're welcome.
Cursed sexual energy.
Oh, big cursed sexual energy.
I don't know. I'm just imagining just a photo of the two of us, but then you put like a blurred filter on it. It's just high impact sexual violence.
Pretty much.
Like that is any conversation between the two of us.
Pretty much.
I think you also like made a joke because I mentioned like how like the few people that have heard me sing, like one of them did say that it was like this weird kind of borderline operatic type thing, and you just went, "I'd like you to sing opera between my legs."
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a thing. I mean, that kind of just set the benchmark for our friendship.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's see. He looked down the girl into those eyes and was shocked into absolute nothing. Did he die?
Yes.
He suddenly just had a critical existence failure and exploded.
Oh yeah.
He didn't see hatred, nor fear. He saw only compassion and kindness. He understood. Those eyes were not for herself, but for him.
Yay.
Little bit. Fellas, is it gay to be straight?
Yes.
You know, it's like hip to be square.
What is it? You're very thin, she said, and this place, this house, it's cold. I hoped this would warm you up.
I'm thin because my very existence is cursed, not because I'm not eating enough. I ripped my soul into several pieces.
All day, every day.
Those eyes, he could tell they spoke the truth. That he was thin?
Yeah.
You're thin. She's not lying.
It's not like, fuck. My secret's out.
Ah, shit, and I've been trying to go on a bulk for months now. I've been doing so many squats.
So many squats.
He started to understand just a little. She really just wanted to be his friend.
Hey.
Again, I'm just thinking of just all the different shit where I've seen stuff like this done better. Again, the reason why this works with those isekai villainess things is because it's literally a character who'd been acting like a complete and total dick up till that point, and then suddenly like, wait a minute. This is a game I've played, what? Oh, I'm gonna die horribly if I keep this up.
Yep.
Yeah, and like, those are just so much. Those are like the only isekai series I actually get any enjoyment from. That and Konosuba. Okay, I can't remember if, like, I think you've technically met him. A friend of mine, like, one year he actually did, like, cosplay Kazuma. With another friend of his cosplaying Megumin.
I think so. I also have really bad memory, so.
There was another year where he cosplayed Felix. And I think that I saw him, like a video of him on like r/suddenly gay in the Felix cosplay. I'm not entirely sure because it was a really fucking blurry video. Like, it was like potato quality film. But like someone just like the person recording is like walked up to him and is like, damn bitch, she was fine. He's like, thanks.
Sure.
Thanks, my name's Felix. And the guy's just like, like you just kind of hear the guy die inside.
That's my favorite thing is like those ones where like they go up to like it's like seriously looks like a female cosplayer and they're like
Yeah.
do something cute and they do it and it's like awesome thanks like yeah no problem bro and it's like oh.
Unfortunately, I can't quite do that because of my jawline.
Oh, you can't if you wear like whenever you wear your little face mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only issue with that is because of the clothing, it very much showed how my physique was, which was very thin. Like, absolutely no curve. About as flat as the earth. Wait. Shit, you weren't supposed to hear that. But yeah, it was like very obviously like a man's legs coming out of those shorts.
I mean, a man's legs and an ass that didn't quit. Oh.
Granted, you can only see said ass when I wear very tight clothes. Let's see. Allowing just the ghost of a. He nodded to her, allowing just the ghost of a grin. His genuine smile in all his many. His first genuine smile in all his many long years. And she smiled back. That same irritating smile.
Of course, smiles are always irritating, don't you know?
Oh, don't you know?
Don't you know?
Don't you know? Da bears. Only this time he didn't find it quite so irritating at all.
In chapter.
Wow, we really spent about 30 minutes on that. Holy shit.
Well, it's because we have chaotic goblin energy.
I do have just a container full of dice in front of me.
Let's see.
One of them is the I think you might have been. It was the last con that we were both at. I don't know if you were there when I bought it, but it was the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica set. And so one of them is just this giant-ass fucking D10.
Oh, yeah, no, you showed me, and
yeah,
we were both looking at you like you were insane.
Looking at me like I was what?
insane.
I mean, that's the usual reaction to me.
Yeah.
I did actually finally start running, like, campaign using, like, Magic Gathering settings because there is all that crossover material. So that campaign's just been an absolutely fucking hectic mess because every character's from a different plane.
Mm.
Which I also did end up buying the Theros source book, and at some point I want to run a campaign in that setting that's like just purely in that setting, completely self-contained, that's like a Greek myth Odyssey inspired type thing.
Ooh.
Because Theros is the Greek inspired plane.
Mm-hmm.
With it straight up being that, like, if stuff starts entering, like, the public unconscious, it starts actually altering the world.
I'll alter your world.
And so it's, like, a whole thing of, like, shit like that, of, like, yeah, like, the most of the gods' power actually comes from, like, people thinking they have power and shit like that. Which, one, that's, like, fucking, like, that sort of shit, like, that's pretty interesting for a setting, as well as Greek-inspired campaign. I can throw a giant Hydra because they have 2 gargantuan-sized Hydras.
What?
They have super Hydras.
No, I'm sorry. I clicked over to the next chapter.
Oh yeah, -1 chapter 5.
Well, yeah, something like that.
So
You'll
Voldemort found a true friend in Grace. He found himself going down on her to the dungeon at least once a day and would stay for hours. They talked about things.
Oh, jeez.
My immediate thought was that should be many things. Saying just that they talked about things. Just... Cap?
Yep.
About funny things. Silly things. Things he would never in a million years tell his followers. It turns out that Dark Lord secretly practices. I'm hoping that I'm audible because my connection is suddenly just going all over the fucking place.
You cut out a little bit, and the last intelligible thing you said was million years tell his followers.
Okay, things he would never in a million years tell his followers. One of which being the fact that he actually secretly climaxes.
Baby. All day, every day.
For example, his favorite book, Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. Milne? He had been among the hundreds camping site theaters waiting for Star Wars.
Oh yeah, Star Wars? Really? Wow.
What? Also, I'm guessing they're talking original trilogy because of how fucking old Voldemort is. Yeah. Would there have been millions camping outside theaters back then? That was like the first big movie franchise.
Well, here's the thing, it's like with the first movie, they actually honestly thought it was going to flop, so not that many people went to go see it. You know what?
Did they actually, did a lot of people go to see because they thought it would fail?
No one really went to go see the first movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the first wave of... Yeah, no.
Yeah. So it's like... What?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that's the same reason why the toys for the original trilogy are considered collector's items, but none of the rest of them ever got that way because of the fact that so few toys were made for the original movie because everyone thought it was going to be terrible.
Yep.
So they were, pretty rare. Whereas now it's like, oh, toy sales are going to be big. Let's pump out tons of these. Oh, now they're completely worthless to collectors because there's so fucking many.
Yep. He laughed. Yes. I told the others that day would be a holiday because it was Slytherin's birthday.
Grace laughed with him. And they bought it? Oh dear. Oh. Oh no.
I thought so. Until I found out they had all planned on being there. Luckily, I was in disguise. They would never let me live it down if they caught me.
Again, if this was anyone but Voldemort and the Death Eaters, this could be kind of a funny thing. But this is kind of antithetical to the whole, like, rhetoric of the Death Eaters due to their whole hatred of Muggles.
Yep.
Oh, God. It'd be like if you brought Hitler back to life from the grave, and he was like, you know, I kind of like that Mel Blanc guy.
Also, with the whole timeline of everything, a lot of the Death Eaters really wouldn't have been with him during that point of time.
Yeah, it wouldn't, at very least, it wouldn't be the current setup, or the setup that was around at the time of Harry Potter's birth.
Yeah.
Like, the only followers he would, it all depends on, like, because the timeline, that was, what, mid-80s?
Yeah, I think, hold on, let me check something here. Let me
it's either 80s or 70s.
Okay, so... No, I don't want the... I'm sorry. See here. So... Can't type. Hold on.
Which, okay, part of this whole thing
So,
of why we're getting into this.
Harry Potter's birthday was July 31st, 1980.
1980, right.
Yeah.
And Star Wars movies.
The first Star Wars movie,
Episode 4.
Yeah, the very first Star Wars movie was released in 1977.
Okay, so he could have had the team he had around the time of Harry Potter's birth. Actually.
Ah! Jesus!
That
was my neck, you little shit!
Cat's just being so mean to you. The main reason why I do feel this is kind of important to bring up, again, this isn't so much important for the whole thing of this being a fan fiction, but just more of a general writing thing. It's typically best that if you're going to reference, like, real-life events or pop culture or anything like that, you do it in a way that doesn't break your world building.
Yeah.
In this case, we are going off of someone else's world building. And what we have for the Death Eaters is they are a group that very much believe in wizard supremacy and have a hatred of Muggles. One or two of them secretly going off and watching Muggle movies is one thing. This is another.
Yeah, and like the other thing is like, I mean, like looking in, like talking about, so the Harry Potter books are supposed to take place in like
the 90s,
essentially.
Yeah.
And like Ron, a pure-blood wizard, did not understand a telephone or a television.
Bear in mind that his
like
dad is a Muggle fanatic.
So, yeah, but even with his dad being a Muggle fanatic, they didn't understand these things. So,
like, that's what I'm saying. Even despite
like
how
pure-blood wizards would understand movies.
Voldemort might have some excuse due to the fact that baby Tom Riddle was raised in a Muggle orphanage, though based on how he was treated, it was unlikely that he was being taken to the picture shows.
Exactly.
And so, it's one of those things, and this is just, again, general writing advice. Typically, if you're going to reference, like, real-life stuff, like actual movies, shit like that, you want to make sure that it's not something that is going to cause trouble for your world building. That was something that was kind of one of several issues with Bright. Bright has a lot of issues. One of them is bad world building, and part of where the bad world building comes in, ooh, kitty, is in its references to pop culture, because we are given a world with a complete and total alternate history in which fantasy people have, like, fantasy races have always been a part of society. And then you have references to Shrek. And the Alamo. And it's like, wait, how the fuck does this fit in? Because for Shrek to exist, the entire history of the movie industry leading up to Shrek has to have happened. This is why with stuff that involves modern fantasy stories, typically what you have is an underground secret society of magic users or fantasy beings, like in Harry Potter. Or you have it, so you don't have to, like, completely rewrite history, or you have it to where something happened in relatively recent history for a very short alternate history to have happened. Yeah. Again, general writing advice, stuff to keep in mind. For instance, for one of the things I'm working, like the main thing I've been working on for a while now, an all myths are true style thing, the reveal that all this shit existed to the general populace is something that happened within the last, century.
Yeah, like, so with this whole thing with, God, what was that movie? Like, this movie came out a couple years ago where, like, everybody forgot, about the existence of the Beatles, and so this guy became popular, like, re-singing all their songs, like, John Lennon didn't die, and so, like, the whole thing they did with that, it was like he was in this accident, and all the stuff that he loved never existed in the world. So, like, cigarettes, Coca-Cola, Harry Potter, the Beatles, like, stuff like that just never existed. And, like, they stayed consistent with it all when telling the story.
Now, granted, whether or not that was actually a good movie is another matter.
I actually enjoyed the movie.
Wise.
Yeah. World building wise, everything
world
tied in.
World building wise, it at least stayed consistent.
Yeah.
Because, like, that sort of thing is always important. And there's no issue with writing fan fiction, stuff like that. It's just a whole thing of you do want to take different things into account when you're writing.
Right, especially if you're going off a existing, like, story.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to use character types and write your own story with that, then you can have, like, I'm not saying that it was a good story, but like Master of the Universe, the fan fiction that turned into 50 Shades of Grey. And what they did, in which it was basically just using the characterizations and character names to tell their own story, which a lot of people have done that with Twilight. Yep. I'm not saying that all of those have been good, but that is always an option.
I've also ruined a few friends' lives with talking about some weird-ass canon facts that, like, fucking Stephanie Meyer dropped after the fact of the books. Like, my roommate's girlfriend and one of my friends, I ruined both their lives because we were looking through Amazon the other night, and Amazon Prime has, like, all 5, because the 4th book is broken into 2 movies of the Twilight series, right?
Yeah.
And so she jokingly said, like, "Oh, well, let's watch Twilight," like, jokingly, and we're like, no.
I will say the movies are, as they go on, they do get like funny in a bad way.
Yeah. And
the last one makes me laugh.
So then we got to, like, talking about, like, the whole movie where, like, the reason why Jacob was apparently attracted to Bella was
the
because,
egg
like,
in her ovum.
The egg in her ovum.
That would become Renesmee.
And then I was like, if we're gonna go off of that fact, then, like, he should have also been a little bit gay for Edward because, the sperm. But then I was like, I asked her, did you hear about what Stephanie Meyer said was the reason that, like, Edward was able to impregnate Bella, and why most of like the half vampire children were from like the fucking tropical areas. And she was like, no. And I was like, because apparently the water of the ocean was warm enough to like
Back whenever they were in like fucking Tahiti or that whatever that private island
when
was.
they were like in their honeymoon at the beach, like apparently the water was warm enough to like
thaw his balls.
thaw his ball sack and release his sperm. And she looked at me with the utmost horror on her face.
My
and
other
she was
favorite
like, no
thing.
Fucking way.
My
and
other favorite thing about that.
And yeah.
My other favorite thing about that is that it implies that he has never orgasmed since turning into a vampire, being as the thing stated is their bodies are basically frozen in place, meaning that he would not be able to produce more sperm.
Yeah.
So that means that at no point
the other thing
in the
was he was also super scared of like hurting somebody.
Yeah,
because you know
I kind of find it hard. I kind of find it hard to believe, though, that in like the 80 or so years after he became a vampire, he did not masturbate once.
I have no idea.
You'd think that would have happened at some point.
I don't know. But, I mean, that was like...
you get bored.
And then I went shopping with one of my friends, like the next day. And, I was telling her about, like, we were talking about something, and then it came up, and I was telling her about, like, the canon reason. She goes, what do you mean the canon reason? I was like, oh, you don't know? She's like, oh god, no, don't tell me. I'm like, too late, I'm telling you. And I told her, and she literally was like, just done. Like, done. So I ruined 2 different people's lives with that, and I am quite happy with myself.
Honestly, the one that I always think about is this stuff that's kind of makes you realize just how much fucking money they spend. Because it's stated that they only ever wear a article of clothing. Like, each member of the Cullen family will only ever wear an article of clothing once.
So,
and that they're always buying...
population must be
fucking trendy as fuck. Yeah, they must be fucking styling. Because they only wear, like, top-of-the-line fashion, like fashion brands. Like, the latest trends. And only ever wear them once before getting rid of them, because they're afraid that their clothing will look outdated and people will catch on, despite the fact that if someone were to wear some shit from the 90s now, it'd just be considered retro chic.
I mean, considering that I still have a couple of t-shirts, jackets, and shoes from middle school that I still wear to this day, I mean, and considering the fact that a lot of people will do what they call retro chic, where they will wear vintage style clothes or actual true vintage clothes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know, humans are fucking quirky as shit. Like, there's...
But yeah, and then you look at that, and it's like, that's a lot of fucking money being spent.
Yeah.
And it's mentioned that the way that they get their money, that way they seem to get a lot of money, if memory serves, is that Alice, the one that can like see the future, uses that to play the stock market. I'm just gonna tell you, shit like that is how you get accused of insider trading.
Apparently, part of it is her doing that, and then some of it's just like some fucking like nest egg shit from when they were like still alive, that they were like, oh yeah, I'm their ancestor.
Like,
and then fucking
shady shit.
Carlisle like somehow being a doctor for fucking humans.
Okay. It's just a lot of shit that like doesn't make a lot of sense.
No.
Anyway, that's besides the point. Point is world building.
Yes.
World building is important. Because world building...
all day, every day.
World building affects everything from the plot to the tone. Like, to characterization. Like, that sort of shit is how you end up, like, figuring it out.
That's how you end up gay as shit.
Sometimes. Let's see. Oh, what the fuck was it? Who would have thought, huh? She suggested, sniggering and twittering with him. I'm suddenly given the mental image of Voldemort having a Twitter, and I don't like it. It's like J.K. Rowling's, but instead of targeting trans people, he's targeting muggles. Fuck.
Oh. Oh. Alright. He
Anyway.
He nodded, and the laughter, grew.
That's a bit weird.
He was so surprised to find himself enjoying their talks. He could totally see why the others liked her and, no longer wished her harm. So, day after day, he just spent more and more time with her, oh my god. And even when the talk stopped, it stepped into, more, serious territory.
Oh my god, Brittany.
I don't know why, but I felt...
I'm just imagining,
I just felt
basic white bitch
like that sentence to be read like that. Yes.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
No actual offense to any real-life basic white bitches.
Just kidding, all the offense.
I fucking, you know those, not like other girls types posts?
Yeah.
You've seen those before, right? Have you seen, the various ones that, Tumblr artists got a hold of?
Where they turn them into, they're actually surprised they're a lesbian couple?
Yes,
yeah.
I love those. Those are great.
Yes.
And, I did see, a whole thing, getting into that, because Strange Aeons, she was talking about, yeah, for the most part, I never really had those kinds of, thought processes, as a lesbian. I was never usually, resentful of the women around me for being different than I was.
As a lesbian.
I just find it funny. It's yep, this is a good solution. Let's see. On one such day...
Tell me, he began for no apparent reason, for lack of a better topic, what is your dream?
I'm going to fucking murder someone.
Why?
I just saw ahead and saw what I had to read.
Oh, ha 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 ha.
Also, I suddenly imagined that was what Grace said as soon as I said it, and just Voldemort I mean, same, but... Grace smiled. Well, I love children, and I would love to own and run a home for orphaned children.
Oh no.
Again, this just feels like
bad.
You're trying too hard to show how nice of a person they are without actually having them do too many nice things. I mean, so far we've had her act like a complete and total sociopath while just getting tortured, not care about the death of her family, and then knit the person who tortured her a sweater.
A robe.
Robe. Sweat robe.
Sweat robe.
Point is, you haven't exactly shown us a lot of things that make us go, oh, this is a nice person. Just, this person is emotionally unbalanced. You could do emotionally unbalanced and nice, but you haven't. It's more just Lenny from The Grapes of Wrath.
Lenny's
but with the ability to knit. Right, what
He's
thing
from
am I thinking?
Of Mice and Men.
Is it Mice and Men? Which one was Grapes of Wrath?
I don't know. I never read it, but I know Lenny is a character of Mice and Men.
Tell me about the rabbits, George.
Yeah. Because I remember we went to read that book in, my sophomore English class. And this one girl was like, oh, so it's a book after the band, and the teacher just gave her the most shut the fuck up, you dumb bitch look.
I think I mostly got confused because I'm pretty sure they're by the same author.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are by the same author, but I think yeah. Anyways, but yeah. So
yeah, John Steinbeck.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, not
He also
mice
did
eat
was in
grapes. What
the.
the fuck? But Grapes of Wrath is about the Great Depression.
Yeah.
Dust Bowl, the Dust Bowl region specifically.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So where's it?
I think it's just because it's the same author that I get those two flipped.
Probably. Voldemort's eyebrows went upward. Wait, Voldemort doesn't have eyebrows.
We already had this before. I'm guessing it's just the part of his face where his eyebrows should be.
How did she always manage to say things that made him think of his past? An orphanage. He look away.
This is the only example of that we've had. But yeah, so basically we just have someone who seems to have enough of a misunderstanding of social cues to just be completely like nice, naive, and trusting towards someone who is being an absolute dick to them.
My dick in a box. Sorry.
I'm about to put your dick in a box.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Grace
No,
said. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. She didn't want him angry with her.
he shook his head. I'm fine. It's just, I grew up in an orphanage, he explained.
Poor. That is. I don't know why. It's like the funniest thing that could have happened in my mind is just her, like, cracking a joke about him not having parents.
You're like, you had no parents, neither did you, bitch.
Like, she has so little of a characterization that it wouldn't feel out of left field. Okay, Grace bit her lip. Bit her lop.
Lop, lop.
Loppany. What about your mom and dad? You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
Then why the fuck did you ask, you dumb bitch?
Well, you see, my mother was a rapist.
Silence.
That's basically it.
Silence filled the room. It was as though a dark cloud had settled over them. She waited patiently, looking at him with caring eyes.
Okay, is my voice connection terrible right now or not?
Nah, I can hear you.
Nah?
I can hear you.
Okay. Alright. Which means that Craig could probably hear me. Finally, he answered. My mother died when I was born, and my father, he never wanted me. He was a muggle, a non-magical person, and we found out about my mother. He abandoned her. You're kind of leaving out what he found out about his mother.
Yeah.
That being that he was using that she was using a love potion to force him into a relationship. I remember reading that part of the book and being absolutely horrified.
Date rape.
Basically. Don't use love potion, kids. If you do, I'll break your knees.
Break your kneecaps.
Nah. I don't need reminders that that's even a thing. She was so heartbroken that she fell into the deepest despair, not eating, not sleeping, neglecting to care for herself. She fell ill a few weeks before she made it to Miss Cole's orphanage on December 31st, 1928. I was born at midnight and she died shortly after. At her dying request, I was given my father's name. Your father's name, Voldemort? No.
I'm sorry. My cat decided to come lay on my chest and do one of those paint me like one of your French girl poses and just stuck her hind leg out into my face. Why are you sitting like that, you weird child? Grace thought to herself, well, that explained a lot, she said aloud. That must have been hard, never knowing your mum or dad.
Well, you see, I was orphaned at birth. Well, that explains a lot.
Hermione, I can't see the screen if you're sitting in front of my face.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Ceara, but I'm having a hard time believing that Grace is this kind, compassionate person when her response to someone telling her that they were orphaned at birth is to say, that explains a lot.
That part was in her head. The other part was out loud.
I thought she said that out loud, and I was... and then this whole, like, going on this spiel about, like, the terrible conditions you had growing up. And they just respond, that explains a lot.
That explains a lot. All day, every day.
That must have... Oh, wait, no, you did say that line. Okay. He agreed. It was awful. And it does explain a lot. The caretakers were abusive. The children were downright cruel. I was different. Could do things that none of them could. You see, I have what's called magic. I've used it on you several times to torture you before. You're probably well acquainted by now. I was labeled a freak and often a victim of the worst treatment. So I hung one of the kids' pet rabbits from a rafter. And then I killed several of them in a cave. After that, I started getting better treatment. I was all alone. He kept his head facing the wall, unable to meet her eyes. All I could do was scare them away from me, hurt them before they could hurt me, so bad they would stay away. It worked, but after I learned to use my powers, not one of them hurt me again. Ever. He lowered his head, finishing his tale.
Yay. So you distanced yourself from them, Grace summed up.
Socially.
And eventually, from everyone you would ever meet. Not truly befriending anyone.
Yeah, and eventually, from everyone you would never meet. That part was actually quite easy.
Yeah, exactly.
It just involves not saying hi. That is just, again, kind of just glossing over the fucked up shit he did even as a kid.
Murder mittens.
Don't murder mittens.
She put her murder mittens in my face.
He nodded, shaking at the memories, in fear, sadness, long-buried anguish being unveiled. He fought it. He couldn't let himself fall apart. He hadn't allowed this to happen since childhood. He couldn't start now. She would laugh at him, think he was weak. He had to stop. He couldn't lose control. He wasn't 5 anymore. I'm going to hang your pet rabbit. I don't have a pet rabbit. I'm going to buy you a rabbit, make you get attached to it, and then kill it.
Yes, that's what every sane person in this world does.
I'm just harkening back to an actual thing he did as a child.
I thought it was a guinea pig or like a hamster or something. I didn't realize it was a rabbit.
It was a small pet rodent. Or I guess large rodent pet-wise. Or I guess Voldemort childhood.
While you're looking that up, I am going to here. But then her hand, her soft, gentle hand, puts the lotion on the skin. It
Or
touched
else
his
it gets the
shoulder.
hose again.
Don't fight it, she encouraged. It's all right. You don't
Wait.
have to worry about anything down here. Those
What?
kind words were all it took to force the long, unshed tears out, and he doubled over in his agony.
He's climaxing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, come on. Tell me the things of the orphanages. He was raised in the Muggle-run Wolves Orphanage after his father abandoned his new family on the streets of London when the potion's influence was lifted and his mother died moments before giving birth to and naming him after his father and maternal grandfather, Marvolo Gaunt. Riddle began attend. You're not telling me about the part where he killed someone's pet? Oh, biography. The Gaunts, because the Gaunt family liking in North America. No, that's family lineage part. Early life, there we go. His family, Merope, staggered to the door of the orphanage, gave birth to Tom there, and died shortly after. I'm suddenly just imagining this happening in the front hallway. Since the Muggle orphanage staff did not know anything about his mother, they did not know of his magical background. Instead, they believed that Merope was a circus worker, as Mrs. Cole told Dumbledore shortly before his meeting with Riddle. It is unknown whether or not the staff relayed this to Riddle before his first encounter with Dumbledore. Riddle did have some grasp on his abilities beyond that of a normal magical children of his age, and an unusually high degree of control over them. He could move objects with his mind. After getting into a fight with his fellow orphan Billy Stubbs, he used his powers to hang the boy's rabbit from the rafters.
Oh, okay, yeah. He did hang a rabbit. Shit.
Yeah.
Shit.
Oh, okay. Come on. There we go. Don't want to have it to where it's just open on the picture of the Gumph here. It's a nicely drawn picture, but not right now. Let's see. Where the fuck? Doubled over in his agony. Why? He sobbed. Why did father abandon us? You see,
Okay.
date rape. Pretty sure that's good grounds for abandonment.
Oh yeah, all day.
Someone who did that to you.
Child. Ow!
Why did he hate me? Why didn't my mother try to live so she could be there with me? Oh boy.
Oh boy. Ow! Ooh, you little shit! Keep your claws out of my flesh.
There is just something very upsetting about that line I just had to read. Why didn't anyone love me?
Because you're a fucking disturbing little creep.
Who kills people's pets? Who does that? When he could say no more, like a dam bursting, all the pain that he had shoved down into the depths of his distraught soul, which piece of it, for a long 70 years, came flooding out, and all they could do was sit there and cry into his arms.
Wait a minute, how old are they making this Grace chick if he's gonna be 70 in this? Like, ew. That's like some fucking, like, magical sugar daddy bullshit.
The Magus' bride might have been able to get away with this, but you cannot.
I like that anime.
Watched it yet, but then again, I've never been, like, a fan of, like, that type as much. Well, like, whisked away into a relationship type of thing. I never been really big into those ones.
He never really forced her into the relationship, though. He was just kind of like, yeah, this is what you are, but realistically, it was more to save her and help her hone her powers before she, ultimately died, because sleigh buggies don't live that long.
Well, then, I'm hoping that's not a spoiler.
No, it's said canonically in the anime that, like, they don't live that long.
Okay. Well. Anyway.
Sorry.
Your line in fucking hell, this opener.
For a moment, Grace did not see a 70-year-old man She saw a lost, lonely, frightened little beau who desperately needed someone to care for him, to love him, to stab him. She drew closer to him and wrapped her arms around him and gently rubbed his back soothingly in small circles.
Again, shit like this can work with better written characters. Either that, or you just need to have it to where the character is so goddamn attractive that it just works on principle. Can't really convey that as easily through the written medium, however.
Unless it's Loki from Marvel.
Well, with him, it just seems to be like a lot of people are like, he's kind of like the new, like, villain crush.
Yeah.
He's the new big one. Before him, it was Snape. And and Draco.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people tried to fuck Voldemort for very obvious reasons.
Yeah.
You can't give him Eskimo kisses. And when you do, you have to lean in a lot closer. And what do you do if, like, the tip of your nose hits one of his nose slits? It's just kind of awkward.
No sex. Here, let me penetrate your nose with my nose.
Oh, no. I don't want to think about nasal penetration.
Think about nasal
yeah,
penetration.
baby, stick it in my nose.
Oh, yeah. Fuck my brains.
Please don't. Meanwhile, like, again, it's the whole thing of, like, dude's just getting fucking coddled. And he hasn't, in the context of this story, been given enough characterization for that to work. All the characterization we really have to go off of is the characterization from the novels, in which, nah, fuck him.
No.
Meanwhile, just outside the basement door, Wormtail sat in much the condition as he eavesdropped and learned just what made the Master so cruel. I believe it's his inability to feel compassion as a result of being conceived under the effects of a love potion, but okay. Of course, it made so much sense. He bawled openly at the thought of his master. No, his friend. Of what his master, no, his friend had gone through alone. That was a terrible Christopher Walken.
At least 3 hours passed before Voldemort
was
unable to shed another tear and was practically asleep in Grace's supporting arms. Wormtail brought down her supper and saw just how weakened his master was after that much-needed relief.
Again, shit like this can work if it's better written characters. I can understand, like, some of the stuff that the writer's doing isn't terrible in concept. It's poorly executed, and fucking hell, there's a lot of fireworks going on outside.
Yep.
But, fucking hell. Also, 3 fucking hours. How dehydrated is this man?
So dehydrated.
Yeah, he offered. I'll help him to his bed. Also, was she still in, like, the cell or whatever?
Yes.
Like, was she just, like, coddling him through the bars? Because that is a very pathetic visual.
Apparently Voldemort was getting in the cell with her. Like, I don't fucking know.
Just imagining her, like, hugging him through the bars. Like, oh no, it's alright. Everything's gonna be just fine.
Let's see here. Grace accepted his offer. Yes, she whispered. He needs a nice long healing rest now.
Is he fucking Superman? Is he gonna go into a healing coma? House! And someone's blasting their bass. I can feel the vibrations of someone's fucking sound system
That's impressive.
as their car drives by.
Kidding.
I mean, I am near an outside wall.
Like, we're able to know every time our next door neighbor comes home because the entire house just
fucking hell.
yeah.
Voldemort was so exhausted that he didn't even notice what was going on. Wormtail was reminded that the Dark Lord was no longer a strapping young man.
Ew.
Gross. He began to lead him up the stairs and stopped. Miss Grace, Wormtail said, looking at her. Don't know how, but somehow you've managed to do so much for him. To make him so much happier. Just cut to Voldemort bawling in a ball on the floor. So much happier. Thank you. And he turned and continued on his way. I am so glad that this shit is not picking up on its own. Holy fuck.
He led the half-asleep wizard up the stairs and into his bedchambers, helped him change into his clothes, gay, and then climb into his soft four-poster bed, hella gay. The older man was completely asleep before his head even hit the pillow.
Also gay.
So gay. Wormtail regarded
Apparently my
him.
aesthetic is gay. That's good to know.
So gay. Wormtail regarded him with sorrowful eyes as he pulled the coverly around the frail form. Poor master! Then he switched off the light and slipped out the door, and Voldemort slept on in the most peaceful sleep he had in ages. What the fuck do you want, Bean?
You turned into like that fucking, I can't remember what his name is, but he's like, from He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Skeletor.
No, not Skeletor. He's got like the big wizard's hat and all you ever see is his eyes.
Okay, sure.
That's the guy you sounded like.
Oh, thanks.
I'll find a picture of it. Ah, jeez, He-Man. Author's notes. I had a comment that Voldemort was less than canon.
Yes.
I have only one thing to say. Duh. This story is focusing on him, not Harry Potter. Focusing on his feelings about what's going on behind those dark robes he wears. It's a garter belt and stockings. He's not going to be canon. He's going to be extremely out of character. No one is 100% evil. Please forgive the out of characterness. It is simply necessary. For example, the Winnie the Pooh thing in Star Wars. Those are things that make him more human. Again, that in and of itself is not bad if you actually put work into showing characterization. We haven't really had this. It's just characters say things.
Yeah.
Anyway, we only have one chapter left, so I figured we might as well just go through this.
Shit.
Ah, shit.
I was going to, click to scroll to the next chapter, and one of the cats stepped on my computer and closed out the entire fucking webpage.
Oh my god.
So, give me a second while I pull everything back up.
Orko! Orko's who I was thinking. You sounded like Orko.
Oh, okay.
Like, the only part of his voice I've ever heard is from the Christmas special. This little guy.
Hold on. I'm trying to get the,
Shit open?
Yeah. We are on chapter 6, the 6th and final chapter. And then what? Yeah. Oh, that little fucker.
Yes, that little fucker. That's who you sounded like.
Oh, thanks.
This is like, wait. He's not a terrible character for a show that was created entirely to sell toys.
Sell toys.
And it was also considered behind the scenes by the people who worked there to be the gayest place on Earth.
Yeah. Alright, let's finish this lovely, well-written story.
Let's finish in this bitch. Wait.
Whoa.
Wait. No. Finish this bitch. There we go. That's what I meant to say.
Sure it is.
I was talking about the story, not the writer.
Are you sure?
Yes, very much so. I have no idea how old the writer is, and regardless, that would be very tasteless for me to say.
Are you positive?
That it would be tasteless to say? Yes. I'm pretty sure saying that in regards to anyone that you aren't currently having sex with, and that is not just part of, like, your whole deal together, is just kind of poor taste.
Possibly.
Anyway, I believe you get the first line this time.
Yay!
I got the last one.
In a run-down old orphanage, in a small room, jammed with a dozen miserable cots with scratchy cotton blankets, a little boy, no more than 5, sat crying desperately. He hurt all over from the bruises left by a beating that morning.
I see, he hasn't killed the children yet. Strange things had happened. Somehow, when one of his many tormentors came and stole his measly bowl of thin gruel, the bowl had leapt of I's own volition out of the bigger boy's hands and dumped itself all over his head.
Kinky.
The caretakers had thought he had done it and had beat him so badly he could barely walk. And they had banned him from the mess hall the rest of the day. No meals the rest of the day. They called him a freak, a monster child, devil spawn. Oh, hey, it's everything my exes have called me.
Well then.
Turns out setting things on fire doesn't make for good relationships.
And so, he cried, alone in his misery. He tried to recall the dream he had the night before to chase away the hurt.
Holy fucking shit, my connection right now. Not even using Wi-Fi for this. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, good. A nice lady in a long white dress had come to him and took him away from the terrible place. Motherfucker, you are not. She had long brown hair and bright green eyes. Oedipus, you are. She did not tell him her name, but she talked sweetly to him and held him close as he listened. He cried that nobody loved him, that he was a monster.
Yeah.
Again, shit like this can work if we actually are given a reason to care about the characters, which very much depends on how well written the characters themselves are. We have very little information about either one of these characters outside of two-dimensional, just surface level shit.
Yeah. Like, the way this whole thing feels to me is like, this is something that, like, this person thought, like, oh, I'm going to write stories with no idea how to write stories, and then was lied to about how good her stories were by people who did not want to hurt her feelings.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like, it's been a few different things. I mean, one, like, nobody has like a real characterization. Like, there's I mean, hell, even if they're a terrible person, a well-written character can captivate you. Like,
Mhm.
they don't need to be a good person to be interesting. Or to be likable, basically. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you still have to fucking put in the effort to make a character. Kind of
Yeah.
the entire reason Sword Art Online doesn't work.
Yeah.
There
Yep.
is no character. That and the sexism, but that's a different matter entirely.
Yep. All right. So,
Yeah,
there we go.
you actually have to have some talent to try and have it to where a scorned woman's club exists in the canon of the show, and it not come off as just trite.
um, she stroked his fluffy black hair and
Cock.
replied, "You're wrong. Ah! You're wrong. I love you very much."
You do? The boy asked. Really? He was skeptical, but being 5 and lonely, he wanted dearly to believe her. This is how children get kidnapped.
All day, every day.
Please don't kidnap children.
I have not kidnapped any children.
Recently.
Eh. Um,
I swear, this entire, series has just been me spreading terrible rumors about people who are present. Including myself.
more than anything, she answered. More than anything.
I am very uncomfortable.
Good.
Voldemort lay in his soft, warm bed contemplating the memory of the dream. He remembered that every night for a year he'd dream of the nice lady.
Ew.
Ah! Ah! Who's that? Oh, she's the nice lady. She gives me sweets.
And tells me not to talk about our special time together.
Ah! I was trying to avoid that joke.
Too late.
Oh. But then, one night, she had announced that she would not be coming back for a very long time. But she did promise to come back, and they would meet again someday. One day, when he would least expect it. Did she time travel backwards into his dreams?
Yeah.
Time traveling succubus.
Oh. Ew.
I mean, they can enter people's dreams.
Yeah, but at 9? Shame.
Yeah, so long as she's not doing anything to him in the dreams. I guess. I guess still kind of creeping on the child, though.
Yep. Alright, so, where?
I mean, granted, if I could go into people's dreams, I wouldn't fuck them, I'd just fuck with them.
Let's see, where was it? Could it be her? He asked himself. He sat up and remembered the night before, how he'd cried like a bitch. He hoped none of his followers had hear, but seeing as he was in bed, with no recollection of putting himself there, his hopes were dashed.
He stood up and went to the window and did something that he'd never done before. He threw open the curtains and let sunlight stream in.
And jacked off into the bushes.
Sniping people from the second story. With his dick.
Hey, Wormtail!
Oh my god! Wormtail! Look out! What, master? Ah!
Master has given Wormtail his sperm! Wormtail is free!
No! Oh! Master has given Dobby a cock! Mater has given Dobby a Glock.
Oh, baby.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite oh fuck no posts
though.
I've ever seen.
Seriously though, give the Dobby a fucking gun. Harry Potter would be done in the second book.
Now I'm just thinking back to Lego Harry Potter, in which it's like, for some reason, Dobby is like the strongest of the boss, like the strongest boss.
Yep.
Like when you had to fight him in the second game.
I never understood why they made you fight him, but you had to fight him.
I mean, I guess it's because that whole thing of him trying to kill you with a bludger.
Yeah, true.
There we go.
Alright. Did you
A truly
finish?
blessed image. Not yet. Give me some time. Let's see. Where the fuck were they? We mentioned him sniping people from the window. After his outburst, his hour's worth of crying, he felt light, mostly because he had lost a lot of water weight over those 3 hours. As if a small candle had been lit and placed in the darkest part of his heart, filling it with its gentle light. He never wanted to be trapped in the darkness again. For some reason, I can't find the original Tumblr post without some form of like addition. Oh, wait, nope, I found it. Oh, Mater has given Dobby a gun. I fucking spelled master wrong, and then someone photoshopped that in.
Anyways. The sun was so bright against the snow that must have fallen the night before, and his eyes were so used to the dimness of the norm that he had to squint and shield his eyes for several minutes before they adjusted properly to the light and no longer hurt. The sky was a brilliant blue, not a cloud in sight for miles and miles. The snow that glistened upon the ground seemed to shout his name, and he had to greatly repress the urge to run out of the house and run about it like a child.
And run over a child.
Yes.
House. Just give me a sec. Check on them.
Oh, wow.
I have returned. What is up? I believe it is my line.
Yes, it is.
Also, that is a big fucking ski.
Such a big ski.
Miles. Only the usual rapping at his door was able to break his gaze from the window. Wormtail walked in with the breakfast tray and tea cart. He stopped in astonishment. Master, it's so bright in here, I'm going blind!
Good.
As his eyes caught fire. He looked over at Voldemort as he stood by the window, 1 foot up on the windowsill doing a Captain Morgan's pose.
Yeah.
Showing off his thigh.
Flashing his pearly white scrotum
Wand.
to the world below.
Have you seen that one? Is like just take any page from Harry Potter and replace the word wand with penis?
Yeah. Alright, so Voldemort did not growl or glare at the man as he usually did. Instead, he smiled, a genuine, happy smile. Good morning, Wormtail. Yes, I am aware that it is bright. I wanted the window curtains open today.
Master, are you feeling well? I found it. When you replace place wand with penis in Harry Potter. Soon we'll find out, won't we? Snape said smoothly. Penis out, Potter.
Penis out, Potter!
Are you okay? Said Harry urgently. My penis, said Ron. Look at my penis. It snapped almost in two. The tip was dangling limply, held on only by a few splinters. Harry hurried along it, stumbling now and then on the uneven floor, holding his penis out in front of him.
He got caught fapping.
But a reckless rage came over Harry. He kicked his trunk open, pulled out his penis, and pointed it at Uncle Vernon. What are you doing, boy? He looked up. Riddle was still watching him, twirling Harry's penis between his long fingers. Thanks, said Harry. Thanks, said Harry, stretching out his hand for it. A cruel smile, a smile curled the corners of Riddle's mouth. He continued to stare at Harry, twirling the penis idly. Harry took the penis. He felt a sudden warmth in his fingers. He raised the penis above his head.
Okay, stop with the penis.
Brought it swishing down through the dusty air. A stream of red and gold sparks shot from the end like a firework, throwing dancing spots of light on the walls.
That's mildly concerning.
I don't think it should be sparking. It's just shit like that. It's like, that is so stupid and I love it. Oh, God. Anyway. Where the fuck am I?
Now that he's done playing with his penis, we can continue the story.
No, I wasn't playing with mine. I was playing with Harry's.
Oh.
Again, as soon as it's just the two of us, it's immediately cursed. Let's see. Where... Brighton here. Did you say the next line?
Yeah, I read the,
Did not growl?
Yours is... No, yeah, yours is the now Wormtail.
Now Wormtail was sure his master was out. It was the only possible explanation.
Voldemort continued. I am tired of living in darkness. From now on, unless it is night, all curtains in the manor are to be open. He walked over to the wall by his bed, touching it. Look, I've never noticed it, but this room, it is a handsome green shade, the likes of which I have never seen before, like a fir tree.
Wait, if it's like a fir tree, then you have seen it before, because you've seen a fir tree if you're making that comparison.
He turned back to his servant. Did you ever notice? 40 years in this
place, and I never saw. I wonder what other colors there are, what other things I have overlooked while in the dark.
Finally, Wormtail understood. It must have been the after effect of the crying like a bitch he'd done the other day.
Wow, just
he expected the master to be sullen and unusually grumpy today, but instead he seemed to have left his master feeling better and not a little bitch. As the weight of the world
if he was
had been
feeling a
lifted
little
off his
bitch,
back.
that'd be a bit weird.
And indeed, the old wizard did seem to be standing straighter, taller even, and he would encourage.
The way it cut for me was that the old wizard seemed to be straighter.
Yeah, baby.
Anything that left his master feeling so happy. I will see to it at once, master. This is going to make it very hard to keep ourselves hidden, but okay. He made to do as he was commanded.
But first, Voldemort raised a hand. I wish to have my breakfast in the dining room this morning with Miss Grace. He reached into the closet and pulled out a moth-eaten frock and transfigured it into a lovely turquoise dress. Take this to her and allow her to bathe and change into it.
God, she must stink if she hasn't bathed before now. That's the only thing I can read into with that one. She has not bathed for months. Wormtail nodded and took the dress and used a sending charm to order the breakfast and tea down to the dining room. Who makes the food for the Dark Lord and his cronies? Do they just have, like, some house elves on call, or, like, is Wormtail secretly a maestro in the kitchen?
Obviously.
Obviously, Wormtail's good at cooking. This is
Duh.
stuff made very clear by the lore.
Okay. Voldemort took out of the closet his finest black robe and went to his own bathroom. He wanted to look his best. The end.
And that's where it ends. Whether or not it's intentional for it to have ended there, or that the author just abandoned it, is another matter entirely. Maybe it says above, I don't know. Nope, there's just a thing at the top mentioning King Kong. Ugh. That's really besides the point. The point is, Summer Moon Soldier, what have you gotten us into? Speaking of, special thank yous to Summer Moon Soldier and Destiny Baird for supporting us on Patreon. If you like what we do and would like to support us, then consider going down to the link in the description and donating just about any amount of money you want, really, to our Patreon. Of course, other ways you can do this as well is just by simply, like, interacting with the channel itself. You know, the obvious shit, like comments, that sort of shit. Subscriptions. All up to you, really. Maybe follow me on Twitter. Occasionally I say things whenever I remember to hop on there. And I haven't really been mentioning it because, I don't know, maybe if you go into the description you'll probably see it. But, of course, there will be the links to all of Ichitan's stuff in the description
Also,
as well.
On that note, all you fuckers who click on my links and don't follow me on Facebook, it tells me. It tells me. Don't tease me like that, man. Don't tease me like that, man.
Fucking calling people out.
Yeah.
Anyway. Then again, like, I don't really use Facebook, so maybe it's that sort of situation. But there is her Instagram, right? Instagram or Snapchat?
I have Instagram and Facebook, and Instagram doesn't tell me if people looked at my profile.
Okay.
But Facebook will tell me if people have looked at my page.
Yeah.
And so I just constantly get notifications like, you have this many new views. And I'm like, okay, but why don't I have any new followers?
I don't know. Holy shit. You roboted like fucking hell for me. Anyway, I don't know, maybe follow her on Instagram if you want. I mean, again, technically speaking, this is all up to you. We have no control over what you do. Nor should we. Things would go horribly wrong if I was in control of any of you.